The return. The first indication was a radiation spike on the long-range sensors. Captain Maya Rodriguez of Earth Defense Station Epsilon leaned forward in her chair, eyes narrowing at the holographic display before her. "What am I looking at, Lieutenant?" she asked, gesturing at the pulsing anomaly that had appeared at the edge of the Kuiper belt. Lieutenant Cho thumbed through multiple data screens, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Unknown, Captain. Energy signature doesn't match anything in our database. It's shifting, almost like it's breathing." The anomaly expanded, a ripple in the fabric of space-time that shouldn't exist according to every physics model humanity had developed. Rodriguez felt the hair on the back of her neck stand up. 20 years in Earth defense had taught her to trust her instincts, and right now every nerve in her body was screaming danger. "Sound General Quarters," she ordered, "and get me Admiral Hassan." Within minutes, the entire Sol system defense grid was on high alert. Military vessels scrambled to establish a defensive perimeter around the anomaly as it continued to expand. Scientists across Earth trained every instrument at their disposal on the phenomenon, recording data that contradicted fundamental laws of physics. Admiral Hassan's weathered face appeared on the main view screen. "Talk to me, Rodriguez." "Sir, we've got an anomaly approximately 42 AU from Earth. Energy readings are off the charts, and it's growing. We've established a defensive perimeter, but..." She was interrupted by Lieutenant Cho's startled voice. "Captain, I'm detecting a transponder signal from within the anomaly. It's the HSS Intrepid." The command center fell silent. The HSS Intrepid, Earth's most advanced deep space exploration vessel, had disappeared without a trace 3 years ago during a routine mission to investigate a gravitational anomaly near the heliopause. Search parties found nothing. Memorial services were held. Families grieved and tried to move on. "Confirm that signal," Rodriguez ordered, her voice tight. "Confirmed, Captain. It's the Intrepid's emergency beacon, but the signal is altered somehow. There are data patterns embedded in it that our systems can't decode." Admiral Hassan's expression hardened. "This could be a trap. The Arcturus Confederation has been probing our defenses for months." "With respect, sir, the Arcturus don't have technology like this," Rodriguez replied. "This is beyond anything we've seen from any known species." Before Hassan could respond, the anomaly pulsed once more, and then, like a ghost materializing from the void, a ship emerged. At first glance, it appeared to be the HSS Intrepid, with its distinctive hammerhead configuration, and the United Earth emblem emblazoned on its hull. But as imaging systems focused on the vessel, disturbing differences became apparent. The hull was covered in geometric patterns that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. Where there should have been standard fusion thrusters, there were now pulsing crystalline structures that emitted no visible exhaust, yet somehow propelled the ship. Most disturbing were the sections that appeared translucent one moment and solid the next, as if the very matter of the ship existed in multiple states simultaneously. "We're receiving a transmission," Cho announced, his voice unsteady. "It's using Intrepid's command codes." The main view screen flickered, and a collective gasp filled the command center. Commander Eliana Wei, captain of the HSS Intrepid, looked back at them, but she was changed. Her eyes contained geometric patterns that shifted and swirled with impossible colors. When she spoke, her voice carried harmonic overtones that seemed to bypass the audio system and resonate directly in the minds of everyone watching. "Earth Command, this is Commander Wei of the Intrepid. We have returned with knowledge beyond human understanding. Prepare for contact." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. "Isolate that ship," Admiral Hassan ordered, recovering first. "Full quarantine protocols. Nothing gets on or off until we know what we're dealing with." Dr. David Chen led the specialized boarding team assembled to investigate the Intrepid. As Earth's foremost expert on xenobiology and quantum physics, he was the natural choice to head the mission. Beside him stood Major Lena Kaminsky, commanding a squad of elite soldiers equipped with the most advanced defensive technology Earth could provide. "Remember," Chen cautioned as their shuttle approached the Intrepid's docking bay, "we follow containment protocols to the letter. Anything they've encountered could be dangerous in ways we can't predict." Kaminsky nodded grimly, checking her pulse rifle. "My team is ready, Doctor. Let's just hope our suits can protect against whatever they've encountered out there." The docking procedure went smoothly, too smoothly, considering the Intrepid's bizarre modifications. As the airlock cycled, Chen's instruments began registering impossible readings. The air composition was standard, but his quantum field detector was showing patterns that, according to current physics, shouldn't exist in our reality. "Stay alert," Kaminsky warned her team as the inner doors opened. They were greeted by Lieutenant Marcus Chen, the Intrepid's chief engineer. Like Commander Wei, his eyes contained swirling patterns, and when he smiled, his teeth seemed momentarily translucent. "Welcome aboard," he said, his voice carrying the same strange harmonics they'd heard from Commander Wei. "Commander Wei is waiting in the main research lab. Please follow me." The corridors of the Intrepid were simultaneously familiar and alien. Standard Earth design was now interwoven with materials that defied analysis. Surfaces that appeared solid to the eye registered as non-existent to scanning equipment. Lights pulsed with patterns that seemed to communicate information directly to the observer's subconscious. "What happened to you out there, Lieutenant?" Chen asked as they walked. Marcus smiled, an expression that was both warm and unsettling. "We found them. Or rather, they found us. The Void Shaper Collective." "The Void Shaper Collective," Major Kaminsky repeated, her grip tightening on her weapon. "That's what we call them. It's not their real name. Their real designation can't be expressed in human language or mathematics. They exist differently." The main research lab had been transformed into something that barely resembled its original configuration. The center was dominated by what appeared to be a sphere of liquid metal suspended in midair without any visible support. The sphere pulsed with internal lights that moved in complex patterns, and occasionally, sections would become transparent, revealing intricate geometric structures within. Commander Wei stood before this sphere, her hands moving through complex gestures that seemed to affect the patterns within the metallic orb. She turned as the team entered, her impossible eyes focusing on Dr. Chen. "Dr. Chen," she said, recognizing him instantly despite never having met him before. "Your work on quantum entanglement was instrumental in helping us understand what the Void Shaper showed us." Chen felt a chill run down his spine. His research on quantum entanglement had been classified at the highest levels. He had published nothing on it in the open scientific literature. "How do you know about my work?" he asked. "The Void Shapers know everything about humanity," she replied simply. "They've been watching us for millennia, waiting for us to reach a certain threshold of understanding. Your work was the final piece they needed to see." Major Kaminsky stepped forward. "Commander Wei, with all due respect, you and your crew need to submit to medical examination and debriefing according to protocol." Wei smiled, an expression that conveyed both warmth and something alien. "Of course, Major. We expected no less. But first, allow us to demonstrate what we've brought back." She gestured to the metallic sphere. "This is just one of their gifts to us. A computational engine that processes information not by binary logic, but by quantum probability manipulation. It doesn't calculate answers. It collapses wave functions to make the most probable outcome become reality." Chen stared at the sphere, his scientific mind racing to comprehend what she was describing. "That's impossible. You're talking about reality manipulation, not computation. The distinction is meaningless at their level of technology," Lieutenant Marcus explained. "To the Void Shapers, thought and reality are the same thing. Their technology doesn't operate by mechanisms. It functions through pure mathematical principles." Commander Wei approached the boarding team. "We understand your caution. We would feel the same in your position. But what we've brought back isn't a threat. It's salvation." She reached out her hand, and the air around it seemed to waver. Humanity stands at a crossroads, and the Void Shapers have given us the means to take the path to the stars. Let me show you. Before Major Kaminsky could object, Wei's fingers brushed against Chen's environmental suit. Instantly, his mind was flooded with images, equations, concepts that expanded his understanding of physics in ways that felt like his skull would crack from the pressure. He saw star systems, alien worlds, civilizations that had risen and fallen over millions of years. He saw the Void Shapers not as physical beings, but as patterns of information and energy that moved through reality like thoughts through a mind. And he understood. When he came back to himself, he was on his knees, Major Kaminsky supporting him as her team aimed weapons at Commander Wei, who stood calmly waiting. "What did you do to him?" Kaminsky demanded. "I showed him the truth," Wei replied simply. Chen struggled to his feet, his mind still reeling from what he had experienced. "She's right," he gasped. "They're not hostile. They're teachers. The Void Shapers found us drifting at the edge of the solar system," Wei explained. "They recognized in humanity a potential they hadn't seen in thousands of other species. They took us, studied us, taught us, changed us, and now they've sent us back as messengers." "Messengers of what?" Major Kaminsky asked, still suspicious. Commander Wei's impossible eyes seemed to look beyond the physical world as she answered. "Of the choice humanity must make. To remain bound to Earth, fighting over dwindling resources until we destroy ourselves, or to accept their gifts and join the greater community of sentient beings among the stars." The metallic sphere pulsed, and for a moment, everyone in the room could see through the walls of the ship to the stars beyond, not as they appeared now, but as they would appear thousands of years in the future, with human vessels moving between them, carrying a civilization that had transcended its cradle. "This is just the beginning," Commander Wei said quietly. "The real work starts now." The gift. News of the Intrepid's return spread across Earth like wildfire despite the military's best efforts at containment. Footage of the modified ship leaked online, followed by speculation about what the crew had encountered. Within days, governments worldwide were holding emergency sessions. Corporations were scrambling to position themselves for potential technological windfalls, and religious leaders were grappling with the theological implications of advanced alien contact. The Intrepid remained in orbit, surrounded by a military cordon, while its crew underwent extensive examination. Medical scans revealed modifications to their neural pathways that defied current understanding of the human brain. Their DNA showed subtle alterations that seemed to enhance cognitive function and cellular repair. Most disturbing to the examining scientists was the apparent ability of the crew to perceive and manipulate quantum fields with their minds alone. In a secure facility beneath Geneva, the United Earth Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from every nation sat in tense silence as Admiral Hassan delivered his report. "The Intrepid crew appears to be in good health, despite their modifications," he said, his voice echoing in the cavernous chamber. "Dr. Chen has been working with them to understand the technology they've brought back. I'll let him explain." Dr. Chen took the podium, looking haggard from days without sleep. The encounter with Commander Wei had left him changed. Not physically, like the Intrepid crew, but his understanding of reality had been fundamentally altered. "What the Intrepid has brought back isn't just technology," he began. "It's a new paradigm. The Void Shaper Collective exists in a state that's difficult for us to comprehend. They don't build machines, they reshape reality through pure mathematical principles." The Chinese representative leaned forward. "Are they a threat?" Chen shook his head. "Not directly, no. From what Commander Wei has shared, the Void Shapers are ancient, possibly older than our galaxy itself. They've encountered thousands of species and helped many of them ascend to a higher state of existence." "And they chose us. Why?" asked the Russian representative skeptically. "Because of a quality they call adaptive cognition," Chen replied. "Simply put, humans can change our thinking in response to new information faster than any other species they've encountered. Where other species needed generations to integrate new concepts, we can do it within a single lifetime, sometimes within moments. The room broke into murmurs at this revelation. The notion that humanity possessed something unique, something valuable to beings so advanced, stirred both pride and suspicion. The American representative cleared her throat. What exactly are these gifts they've given us? Chen gestured, and a holographic projection appeared above the center of the chamber. It showed the metallic sphere from the Intrepid's research lab. This is what they call a probability engine. It doesn't compute possibilities. It collapses quantum probability waves to make the most favorable outcome the actual outcome. Effectively, it brings what might be into what is. The Brazilian representative scoffed. "You're describing magic, Doctor. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic," Chen quoted. "But there's nothing supernatural about it. It's simply technology based on a deeper understanding of quantum mechanics than we currently possess." "What can it do, exactly?" the Japanese representative asked. "Almost anything," Chen admitted. Commander Wei demonstrated its abilities by restructuring matter at the atomic level, generating energy from quantum fluctuations, and even briefly warping spacetime to create a momentary wormhole. The chamber erupted in chaos at this revelation. The Secretary General called for order, his gavel thundering against the podium. "The implications are clear," Admiral Hassan said when the noise subsided. "If this technology is real, and all evidence suggests it is, then whoever controls it will have unimaginable power. The military applications alone would be devastating," Chen interrupted. "Which is why the Intrepid crew insists that the technology cannot be weaponized or monopolized by any single nation or corporation. It must be shared with all of humanity, or none of it." "That's not their decision to make," the Russian representative snapped. Chen's expression hardened. "According to Commander Wei, it's not our decision either. The Void Shapers have safeguards in place. If we attempt to weaponize their gifts or use them against each other, the technology will simply cease to function." Aboard the Intrepid, Major Kaminsky watched with growing unease as Commander Wei manipulated the probability engine. With a few simple gestures, Wei had created a perfect diamond from carbon dioxide in the air, then transformed it into a living flower, then back to diamond again. "It's not magic, Major," Wei said, sensing Kaminsky's discomfort. "It's simply understanding that at the quantum level, all matter is probability. This flower," she held up the diamond blossom, "was always a potential state of these carbon atoms. The engine just makes that potential state the actual one. And you can control it with your thoughts." Kaminsky asked. "Not exactly thoughts. It's more like intention focused through mathematical principles. The Void Shapers altered our brains to perceive and interact with quantum fields directly. We're not special. Any human could learn this with the proper neural modifications." Kaminsky frowned. "And these modifications, they're permanent." "They are," Wei admitted, "but they're not harmful. Quite the opposite. We haven't aged a day since the Void Shapers found us. Our cellular repair mechanisms have been enhanced to near perfection." "Immortality," Kaminsky whispered. "Vastly extended lifespan, at minimum," Wei corrected. "The Void Shapers themselves live for what we would consider eternity, though time doesn't hold the same meaning for them." Lieutenant Marcus entered the lab, his expression grave. "Commander, we're detecting a spatial distortion forming in the outer system. It's similar to the one we came through, but different. The harmonic patterns are wrong." Wei's expression shifted to one of concern. "How long?" "Hours, maybe less." We turned to Kaminsky. "Major, we need to speak with Earth's leaders immediately. We're about to have visitors, and I don't think they're friendly." In the Geneva facility, the Emergency Council was still debating when Dr. Chen received an urgent message from the Intrepid. His face paled as he read it. "We have a situation," he announced, interrupting the American representative mid-speech. "Commander Wei reports that another spatial anomaly is forming in the outer system. She believes it's another alien faction. one that's hostile to the Void Shapers, and by extension, to us. Admiral Hassan was immediately on his comm device, barking orders to the fleet. The Secretary General called for silence. "What do we know about these hostiles?" he asked. "Very little," Chen admitted. "Commander Wei calls them the Void Hunters. They're apparently an ancient enemy of the Void Shapers, a species that believes all sentient life should develop naturally, without intervention. They see the Void Shapers' gifts as contamination and seek to eliminate any species that receives them. So we've been dragged into an interstellar conflict without our consent," the Chinese representative said angrily. "Not exactly," Chen replied. "According to Commander Wei, the Void Shapers have been watching humanity for millennia. They believe we're at a critical juncture. We've developed technology capable of destroying ourselves many times over, but haven't yet matured enough to use it wisely. Their gifts are meant to help us survive our technological adolescence. And these Void Hunters want to ensure we don't receive that help," the Brazilian representative concluded. "Precisely. The anomaly grew at the edge of the solar system, a writhing distortion in space-time that dwarfed the one the Intrepid had emerged from. Earth's defense fleet took up position, though everyone knew their weapons would be useless against beings who could manipulate reality itself. Aboard the Intrepid, Commander Wei and her crew worked frantically with the probability engine, attempting to prepare defenses against the coming threat. Major Kaminsky watched in awe as they rewrote the laws of physics in localized areas around the ship, creating what Wei called reality anchors, zones where certain physical laws were immutable, regardless of what the Void Hunters might attempt. "Will it be enough?" Kaminsky asked. Wei's expression was grim. "Probably not. The Void Hunters have technology similar to ours, but they've been using it for destruction for millennia. We've had 3 years. Then why fight? Why not just give back the technology?" "Because it's not just about the technology anymore," Wei explained. "It's about potential. The Void Shapers saw something in humanity that they believed was worth preserving and nurturing. The Void Hunters see that same potential and fear it. Even if we surrendered everything we've learned, they would still consider us a threat to be eliminated." The anomaly pulsed one final time, and from it emerged a fleet of vessels that defied comprehension. They weren't ships in any conventional sense. They were geometric impossibilities, shapes that couldn't exist in three-dimensional space, yet somehow did. They moved without propulsion, existed without matter, and radiated a cold purpose that could be felt even across the vast distances of space. A transmission reached every communications device on Earth simultaneously, bypassing all security protocols and encryption. The voice that spoke was not voice at all, but rather a concept forced into the crude vessel of human language. "We are the preservers of natural order," it said, the words carrying undertones that induced nausea and fear in all who heard them. "Your species has been contaminated by the Shapers of Void. This contamination cannot be permitted to spread. Your star system will be cleansed. Resistance is irrelevant." Admiral Hassan's voice came over the emergency broadcast system, steady despite the circumstances. "This is Admiral Hassan of the United Earth Defense Force. We have taken nothing that wasn't freely given. We have threatened no one. We demand you withdraw from our system immediately." There was no response except for the movement of the impossible fleet. They accelerated toward Earth, reality distorting around them as they came. On the Intrepid, Commander Wei placed her hands on the probability engine. "It's time," she said to her crew. "Initiate the ascension protocol." The metallic sphere pulsed, and a wave of energy swept outward from the ship, washing over Earth's defense fleet. Where it passed, ships transformed, their hulls taking on the same flowing, metallic appearance as the Intrepid. Their weapon systems reconfigured into crystalline structures that pulsed with impossible energies. Aboard his flagship, Admiral Hassan watched in astonishment as his tactical display transformed, showing him capabilities his ship had never possessed. Somehow, he instinctively understood how to use them. "All ships," he ordered, "prepare to engage." As the two fleets closed on each other, the probability engine aboard the Intrepid pulsed once more, and a final message reached the minds of every human in the solar system. We gave you tools. Now show them what humanity can do. The choice. The first shots in humanity's first interstellar war weren't fired with conventional weapons. There were no railguns, no nuclear warheads, no beam weapons cutting through the void. Instead, reality itself became the battlefield. The Preserver fleet advanced in perfect geometric formation, and where they passed, the laws of physics bent to their will. Space itself seemed to fracture, creating zones where matter couldn't exist, lanes of altered gravity that would tear conventional ships apart. But Earth's fleet was no longer conventional. Admiral Hassan watched as his tactical officer, a young lieutenant named Patel, interacted with the transformed systems of his flagship, the UES Defender. Patel's eyes now held the same geometric patterns as the Intrepid crew, and his fingers danced across controls that hadn't existed minutes before. "Sir," Patel reported, "I'm detecting reality distortions from the enemy fleet. They're creating gravitic shear zones ahead of us. Can we counter?" Hassan asked. Patel nodded, his expression showing surprise at his own understanding. "Yes, sir. The ship is suggesting. I don't know how to explain it. Probability anchors. We can establish zones where our preferred laws of physics are dominant." "Do it," Hassan ordered without hesitation. Across the fleet, transformed ships deployed reality anchors, establishing safe corridors through the Preserver's reality distortions. The battle quickly evolved into something more akin to a game of multidimensional chess than conventional warfare, with both sides attempting to establish dominance over the underlying fabric of space-time. Aboard the Intrepid, Commander Wei and her crew monitored the battle, occasionally reaching out through the quantum network to assist Earth's fleet when needed. Major Kaminsky watched, feeling simultaneously awed and useless. "Don't they need your help?" she asked Wei. "Less than you might think," Wei replied with a hint of pride. "Watch how quickly they're adapting. 3 minutes exposed to the technology, and already they're innovating applications we never considered." Indeed, Earth's fleet was displaying tactics that seemed to surprise even the Preservers, where the alien ships moved with perfect coordination, suggesting a hive mind, or at least a shared consciousness. Human captains acted with individual initiative, creating unpredictable patterns that the Preservers struggled to counter. "Adaptive cognition," Wei said softly. "That's what the Void Shapers saw in us. Not just our ability to learn, but our ability to innovate under pressure, to find solutions no one has thought of before." But despite humanity's unprecedented adaptability, the battle was not going well. The Preservers had millennia of experience with their reality-warping technology, and for every clever tactic the human fleet deployed, the aliens countered with overwhelming force. Ship after ship in Earth's defense fleet winked out of existence as the Preservers found ways to bypass their hastily established reality anchors. Each loss sent a psychic shockwave through the quantum network, felt by every transformed human as if a part of themselves had been torn away. "We're losing," Kaminsky stated bluntly. We nodded grimly. "Yes, for now. But we haven't deployed our true advantage yet." "Which is?" Wei's impossible eyes focused on Kaminsky. "The Void Shapers didn't just give us technology, Major. They gave us a choice, one that Earth must now make collectively, with full understanding of the consequences." She turned to her communications officer. "Open a channel to the Geneva facility. It's time." In the secure chamber beneath Geneva, the Emergency Council watched the battle through holographic displays with growing horror. Earth's most advanced fleet, transformed by alien technology beyond comprehension, was being systematically dismantled by the Preserver forces. "We should surrender," the Russian representative suggested. "Give back this technology and beg for mercy." "They've already said that's not an option," the American representative countered. "These Preservers intend to cleanse our entire system. They see us as contaminated." The holographic display flickered, and Commander Wei's face appeared above the central table. "Representatives of Earth," she began without preamble, "you're witnessing the consequence of the gift humanity received. The Void Shapers gave us knowledge and technology beyond our current evolution, and now the Preservers seek to ensure that gift is never realized." "Then what do you suggest, Commander?" the Secretary-General asked. "Your miraculous technology seems insufficient against these Preservers." "The technology alone, yes," Wei agreed. "But there's another option. The Void Shapers didn't just give us tools, they showed us a path. A way for humanity to evolve beyond our current limitations, to become something new." "What exactly are you proposing?" the Chinese representative asked suspiciously. "A transformation," Wei replied. "Not just of our ships, but of humanity itself. The neural modifications the intrepid crew received allow us to perceive and manipulate quantum fields directly. With the probability engine, we can extend that transformation to all of humanity instantly." The chamber erupted in shouts of protest and confusion. The Secretary-General called for order repeatedly before the noise subsided. "You're talking about altering the human species without consent," the Brazilian representative said, horror evident in her voice. "I'm talking about offering a choice," Wei corrected. "The transformation requires acceptance. It cannot be forced. But it must be offered now, while we still have time." "And what would this transformation entail, exactly?" Dr. Chen asked, speaking for the first time since the battle began. "Enhanced neural capacity, perception beyond the standard 5 senses, direct interface with quantum fields, extended lifespan, and most importantly, connection, a quantum entanglement linking all human minds together while preserving individual identity." "A hive mind," the Russian representative said with disgust. "No," we insisted, "something unique to humanity. The Void Shapers call it a cognitive collective, unity without uniformity. We would remain individuals, but never alone, never disconnected. The sum greater than its parts, but the parts still distinct and valued." The council fell silent, contemplating the magnitude of the choice before them. "Why would the Void Shapers offer this?" the Secretary-General finally asked. "What do they gain from our evolution?" Wei's expression softened. "They were once like us, alone, afraid, fighting against extinction. They transformed themselves and survived, but at a cost. They lost something essential in their ascension, something they call creative chaos. They became perfect, eternal, and, ultimately, stagnant." She paused, her impossible eyes scanning the faces of Earth's representatives. "They see in humanity a chance to reintroduce that creative chaos into the cosmic order. We would be neither their servants nor their equals. We would be their complement. Where they are order, we would be innovation. Where they are stability, we would be change." "And the Preservers?" Admiral Hassan asked from his command chair, his voice joining the conversation through the quantum network. "What do they fear?" "Exactly that," Wei replied. "The Preservers believe in natural evolution, unguided and untainted. They fear what humanity might become with the Void Shapers' guidance, a new force in the galaxy that could disrupt the careful balance they've maintained for eons." The American representative leaned forward. "How much time do we have to decide?" Wei's expression was grim. "At the current rate of attrition, Earth's fleet will be destroyed within the hour. Once our defenses fall, the Preservers will sterilize the entire system. There will be nothing left of humanity but dust." "And if we accept this transformation?" the Chinese representative asked. "Then we fight," Wei said simply. "Not as we are now, but as what we could become. United, evolved, humanity ascending." The debate raged for precious minutes as the battle in space continued to go badly for Earth's forces. The Preserver fleet had broken through the outer defensive line and was advancing inexorably toward Earth, reality distorting around them as they came. Finally, the Secretary-General called for a vote. The choice was stark: remain human and face extinction, or transform into something new and fight for survival. The vote was not unanimous, but it was decisive. Humanity would take the path of transformation. Commander Wei, the Secretary General, announced, "We have made our choice. Humanity chooses to evolve." We nodded solemnly. The offer must still be accepted individually, even if collectively approved. We'll extend it to all of humanity simultaneously. Each person must choose for themselves. Aboard the Intrepid, the probability engine pulsed with blinding intensity. A wave of energy swept outward, passing through every ship, every satellite, every planet and moon in the solar system. When it reached Earth, it didn't stop at the atmosphere but penetrated to the core, touching every living human. And in that moment, each person heard a simple question in their mind. Do you choose to evolve beyond current human limitations and join the cognitive collective? Across the planet, billions of individual choices were made. Some refused out of fear or principle. Many accepted immediately, sensing the urgency of the situation. Others hesitated, asked questions that were answered instantly through the forming quantum network, then made their choice. In the end, approximately 70% of humanity accepted the transformation. As they did, their perception expanded exponentially. They could see quantum fields, feel the fabric of space-time, and most significantly, sense each other. Billions of minds suddenly connected yet still individual, like instruments in a vast orchestra playing both in harmony and counterpoint. The effect on the battle was immediate and dramatic. Earth's transformed fleet no longer operated as individual ships, but as a singular defensive system, with each captain simultaneously independent and part of a greater whole. Innovative tactics emerged spontaneously from the collective consciousness, then were instantly shared and improved upon. The preservers, for all their technological advancement, had never encountered anything like this unified yet chaotic human response. Their perfect formations began to falter as unpredictable attack patterns disrupted their carefully orchestrated reality manipulations. "They're retreating," Admiral Hassan announced, his voice echoing through the quantum network to all transformed humans. The connection allowed everyone to see through his eyes as the preserver fleet began to withdraw, their impossible geometries folding back into the spatial distortion they had emerged from. But one ship remained, the largest of the preserver vessels, a complexity of angles and dimensions that hurt the mind to observe directly. It approached the Intrepid, energy building within its impossible structure. "They're going to try one final attack," Wei warned, the thought rippling through the collective consciousness. "Target, the probability engine. If they destroy it, the transformation will be